ever used a pressure washer, you've probably had the same thought as me. You turn it on and you feel the power and the speed.
Watch funny TikToks? Actually, I like the idea of watching TikToks. If you send me TikToks, I'll watch them.
Water running through your hands. And that makes you think, what would happen if I put this in my oven? And then, after that, you probably want to know how many pressure washers it would take to get you in the air. So today, I'm going to find out.
How many power washers would it take to
When
fly?
you search online, you find a bunch
That's
of
the
fake
thing.
videos
How
of
many
people
power
flying.
washers does it take to
Like this one
pressure
by
washer?
Zach King. Or this one by these two goofy guys just mucking around during work. With these two pressure washers conveniently faced perfectly towards the camera. And surely, if it was this easy, every tradie in Australia would be flying to work.
Right?
But maybe it is. So I took apart my pressure washer bidet and pointed the pressure washer down at this scale to see how much force they actually produce. And most days my weight is roughly between 88 and 90 kilos, depending on if I do a morning poo and whether that poo falls on the scale or not. And now, when I turn on the washer, I weigh 1.5 kilos less, which means that unless those goofy men weighed 3 kilos, the video is fake.
Right.
And this is way less power than I was hoping for, and means I would need 80 of these cheapo pressure washers strapped to every part of my
That's
body
too many.
to cancel
That's
out
too
my
many.
weight, which would cost me $16,000, and
Right.
it's not going to happen. So I need to find a stronger power washer.
Right.
And I don't really understand the physics and maths behind it, but I think that if I weigh 90 kilos, I essentially need 90 kilos of upwards force every second to get my big booty off the ground.
Right. That's kind
And
of
it is
how it
possible
works.
to do these with water, as there are companies that offer water jetpack experiences that work by essentially strapping their customers to the exhaust of a jet ski, which gives some pretty impressive results. And jet skis have a flow rate of 4,000 litres per minute, which is heaps. To put that in
That's-
perspective,
why?
my mate Alexa
Why
has a
is he
flow
so
rate
gross?
of around 1.5 litres per minute.
Oh yeah, he's also gonna have the... I hate this so much.
Compared to a normal pressure washer, which has 8 litres of flow per minute. So that means the jet ski has 500 times more water flow
So
than a pressure
500 power
washer.
washers.
But using a jet ski is cheating, and I want to find a pressure washer strong enough. So I attempted to modify my existing pressure washer so it gets more flow by
Okay.
drilling out the nozzle and removing the filter,
Okay. No filter. That's good.
but I broke it.
Oh,
Which
okay.
gave me the idea of breaking other people's pressure washers.
Okay.
So I borrowed a 3000 psi, 15 litre a minute pressure washer. And even though I won't be able to get the same flow rate as a jet ski, I'm hoping I can get the same force by having a much higher psi.
Interesting.
And I got on the scale again after eating a big lunch and a bunch of fishing sinkers, and now weigh 95 kilos. And this time it looks like I'm losing around 3 to 4 kilos,
That's
but it's
pretty
hard
good.
to tell from all the water spray. And I really thought it would give me more lift, as it feels like it has more than 4 kilos of kickback. But maybe it's not transferring into lift as I'm not holding the hose tightly against my body. Then I figure I might get more thrust if I take off the nozzle, resulting in more water flow.
Interesting.
No,
But you broke it.
Now it looks like Alexa. The pressure washer needs the nozzle to build up pressure. Then I thought I might be able to make it stronger if I opened up the handle and lost these tiny screws in the grass.
Okay. Good idea.
Which didn't help either, and looks like I'm only getting 5 kilos of thrust. So I'm going to need more power.
More power.
And I found these even stronger industrial petrol-powered pressure washers, which will deliver 20 litres of water a minute at 5,000 psi, which might be able to get me in the air if I
That's
have
pretty-
multiple of
that's
them.
pretty
But
good.
before I hired them, I decided to see if my arms were even capable
I
of
never
supporting
understand.
enough thrust to get me off the
Dropped an
ground. So I made
entire
this.
cup of coffee on your bed. Ascaron. Ascaron, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh no. Oh no.
This pulley system, which I can add weight to, and will pull up my arms in the same direction as the pressure washers. Now if I want to get off the ground, I need to be able to support 45 kilos of upwards force in each arm. But first, tried out the system with 20 kilos.
That didn't
Now,
work.
some of you have probably noticed that I've moved house, and this wasn't my choice. And it turns out landlords don't like it when you film yourself destroying stuff and blasting holes in your ceiling. And the new
Makes
garage
sense.
is nice, but doesn't have the crappy DIY feel of my old place. So I
Right.
made sure to replicate some of the most recognizable features, like this blade fan, and some of the holes that my old place had. So let's just hope the new landlord doesn't watch this video.
Why is he like this?
Also, lucky for me, my grandpa died. So I got a bunch of his tools from the 50s to add to my
Why
garage.
is he like
this drill
this?
press, a cool vise, a nice big tank of gas for the welder. And most excitingly, a tool I've always wanted to use. Child labour, which should allow me to make things
What
much
the
quicker.
hell?
Okay, so I went outside and added 40 kilos to the rope, which was really hard to support.
Can I move this dog?
And hurt my hand heaps. And that is even without
Ooh.
the threat of being
Ooh, you're
blasted
coming
open
down,
by
honey.
water. So I can't imagine how hard it's going to be with the pressure washers. But I decided to hire the 4 big ones anyway. And I didn't realize how hard it would be to hire this many pressure washers, as most places only have 1 big one. And then when I finally found a place that had 4, I didn't consider that I needed a cover story as to why I needed them. And then when I was on the phone, I panicked and for some reason told them I needed 4 to clean my kitchen. So Kennards, if you're watching, here's me doing the dishes.
Dude, that
And even though they seemed
shattered it.
confused, they still delivered 4 giant pressure washers.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, just 4 of them. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, before I put them all on me, there are a couple of things I still need to do.
This is
Obviously,
so
I can't
dangerous.
hold 4 pressure washers, so I need to make some kind of brace for my arms, which will help me stabilize them.
You
But also
literally
means
could
I'm
cut your
attached to
arm
the
off
pressure
with this
washers,
much
so I'm gonna
pressure.
fly
Like this
wherever
much
they take
water
me.
could
And I
slice your
made the
body
brace
parts
out of
off.
this square bar, which I cut into arm-sized pieces. I then welded on some right angle pieces for the rope to go through, and then also welded another brace on the end, which should help me hold my
You could
body
kill
weight
yourself
against
with
it in a
these.
similar way to crutches.
This is so dangerous.
Then I tied on the pressure washers, creating this almost illegal looking device. And then comes the most important step, which is dipping the end of the brace in the sponsor of today's video,
Oh my God.
PayPal Honey.
No,
Things
I'm
buy
gone.
what
I'm gone.
not washers. Sing honey for online to your brownie. Okay, back to the pressure washer gun. So I put down some plywood and some mats so I don't hurt myself when I fall down. And then pulled out this old record player to use as a platform. Then because I only have 1 hose, I borrowed some more from my neighbor who was strangely supportive of what I was trying to do. And now I have 4 5,000 pressure washers hooked up to 4 separate water supplies with a combined pressure of 20,000 psi and 80 liters per minute flow rate, 80 times more than my mate. Okay, now before going straight to the 4 pressure washers, I just want to see what 2 feel like without an arm brace.
Okay. How much does it weigh? How much does he weigh? Oh my god. This is not safe to be this close.
Holy sh! What was
Okay,
that?
so the bad thing is, it's like getting electrocuted because when it pushes up to this position, I can't let go of my grip.
It's pulling away.
So hard into my hand that it's gonna fly away. So I need to grip it.
That's insane.
That's fucked. This one is a million times stronger than this one.
And that wasn't a good idea. But luckily the nozzles want to fly up away from my feet. Although if they do cut them off, I will weigh less.
That's
Also,
true.
the scales weren't displaying much more weight loss than the 3000 psi pressure washer. But then I realized something. These pressure washers are rated to a flow rate of 20 liters per minute, but my neighbor's garden hose only outputs 8 liters per minute. So unless these pressure washers pull out more water somehow, they aren't producing as much power as they could be. So
Right.
I got this external pump, which has a flow rate of 7,200 liters per hour, which is 120 liters per minute. And then
Okay.
got these old sewerage hoses, which were a little too small. So I used this heat gun to loosen them up before shoving the pump into the hose's urethra,
Oh my god.
which now pump out heaps more water. And after
This
connecting the
is
new
so
hoses, I
fucked.
tested out the braces with 2 pressure washers.
Yeah, I figure I should test with just 2 first. Just considering how much one of those kicked, like,
Pretty terrifying.
it might be impossible to control.
You also look like an orc.
I feel like a Vietnam War guy.
Which side?
To flamethrower.
How do you
Oh, yeah,
hold
great.
this much
The losing
pressure in
side.
one hand?
At least you're on the correct end of it. I'm going to be turning the stuff on over here. I'll be like directly down the nozzle from it.
Okay, yeah, you can turn it on.
It's literally
Okay,
pushing
these
him off
feel
his
way
feet.
stronger than the normal garden hoses, and were pushing me back really hard, and I couldn't really keep them in one spot.
Oh my
And
god.
it even allowed me to do this, which doesn't look very impressive on camera, but felt very cool in my head.
Oh, I see he's leaning.
So now
he's
it's
not
time
even
for
upright.
all 4
That's crazy.
pressure washers. But before I did that, I wanted to see what would happen to my head if the 4 pressure washers somehow did slip out of my hands and pointed directly at my face.
Okay, so in this order,
Oh my
you're gonna turn
God.
these ones on first. Yep.
Yeah.
You're gonna turn them on first.
Okay.
And then you'll turn these ones
I'm
on.
turning on all of them.
Huh?
I'm turning all of them on.
You're gonna turn all of them on. And then if I want you to stop, I'll point at one and then go like this. So go like...
Your hands are. You're going to be holding these. You
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
I'll just turn them all off.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
just.
glad you told me before I tried to...
You'd kill
Not
me.
one.
How
And
did
the
he?
power of these 4 washers together was insane. The only way to describe the feeling is kind of as if a wet man was pushing back on my underarms while spitting on my face.
Okay, that's very fair. Yep. Very fair, indeed. Okay.
What the?
Just deleted the watermelon completely. Evaporated it.
What? Wait, I wanted to eat the watermelon afterwards. There's no watermelon.
It just fucking deleted it.
Well, I didn't
Is it any good?
I did not expect it to look like that.
Dude, it's like it's turned into a milkshake as well. It's so
like,
frothy.
It's like a slushy. That's delicious.
It's actually not that bad. Good way to eat watermelon.
That's amazing. Tastes a bit like pool water, but...
Yeah, it's
That's
full
the
of
most
chlorine.
expensive
And after a
watermelon
snack, I had enough
cutter I've
confidence
ever
to
seen.
continue. So with the wheelchair on standby, we were good to go, and Alexa turned on all 4 pumps. And although I look very graceful here, it may surprise you to know that I didn't really have any control of the movements my body was making, nor could I let go of the trigger. I also couldn't scream loud enough over the pressure washers to tell Alexa to turn them off.
Oh my god.
You're telling me to turn it off, and you're shooting at the machine that I meant to turn off. I'm like,
I couldn't really control it. It's bad because you start off with like strength, you know, but then the longer you're doing it, it's just like, I don't know, holding 15 kilos up. You get really, really tired.
yeah.
And you just start to go, and then once you go a bit floppy, your arm just keeps going.
So I decided to have another go, but this time with the washers closer to my body and securely in my underarms, but also with a scale to see how much force I was getting.
Yeah, they definitely, you're right, they need a separate code switch for sure.
And the scale was saying I was losing about 50 kilos, going from 110 to 60-ish, which is a lot of force.
But not enough. It's not enough.
Then I decided to try jumping.
It's not enough. I mean, he's
Now it
getting
doesn't
some...
really look like anything is happening, but I did feel like I was getting a little bit more airtime than usual. And I'm not trying to say I was anywhere close to flying, but it did look pretty cool.
He's flying.
And And in the slow-mo, you can see that I actually seem to get a bit of extra height and fall slower than usual. Or that could just be the wobble from the pressure washers and the slow-mo from the camera, making it look like that. So I gave it a couple more goes, but my altitude remained pretty similar. And with these pressure washers, I was getting around 12.5 kilos each, meaning I would need 8 of these to get me off the ground, plus the weight of the pressure washers, so more like 10 of these.
Oh my
so unless
God.
I magically lose 50 kilos, I don't think these pressure washers are going to make anyone fly today.
Do you reckon you can come with me? Come with me. Watch your head.
Oh, they should get the kid to do it.
Come with me. Come on.
Because the kid will be so much lighter.
Can we put this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, just keep it like that.
Yes. Yes, it makes so much sense. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you like that, please subscribe and check out some of my other videos.